Texas A&M versus Arkansas in Jerry World. In our previews, we both took A&M to win this game. Hey, look at us. Look at us. But we both took Arkansas to cover. That was not the case. This score right here is 34-22. Uh, this it it should have been a 4 touchdown game. A&M finished the game on the 1 yard line of Arkansas's. Just ran out the clock. Could have punched another one in there with Le'Veon Moss, who had a fantastic game coming out party. 107
That's
yards.
two
Hit him
straight
on.
weeks. He's looked real good. I'll say that. Against Auburn, I thought he played fantastic.
Yeah, because we've been kind of waiting to see, like, is this going to be a three-headed monster, or is someone going to really emerge in this A&M backfield? And it's looking like Le'Veon Moss right now. Large. He runs mean. He runs mean. Max Johnson looked pretty decent. 210 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and an interception. That came on the first play. So, okay, I'll preface this. Uh, Arkansas's one of their 2 touchdowns came on the first play of the second half. And that was a Max Johnson bubble screen where there was some assignment miscommunication, right? I don't think people understood who was getting the ball on that side, which is kind of weird because it's the first play, right? Johnson runs Arkansas. Arkansas's Johnson runs that back for 6. Yeah, and then Arkansas also was in that ball game, and they were feeling pretty good about themselves. But this A&M defense, 7 sacks for the second straight week. That's 14 in the last 2 games since they started SEC play. DJ Durkin's just ramping up the heat. And I like what he's doing. He's moving linebackers around pre-snap, which is like something that he's been meaning to do. He needs to do that. He's flipping the sides. He's putting guys on different sides. He's putting people in different positions. Everyone on the defensive line is absolutely balling out right now. When Anai White is coming off the edge on third down, I mean, fresher than a Subway cold cut combo on a Tuesday. I mean, that's elite. That's an elite defensive
Well,
line.
and that's what we've talked about for a couple years now, especially the past 2 years with this A&M team under DJ Durkin and how talented the defensive line is, especially rushing the passer. The problem was is downs 1 and 2. They were not stopping the run, right? And so they could not let those elite level athletes really get after the quarterback and affect plays and get stops on, get to third and longs, right? And cause, negative plays and things like that, right? We talked about running the football. I thought Raheem Sanders was going to play and play well. I thought KJ Jefferson was going to run and run well. Their team, now, yes, in college football, we count sack yardage as rushing yards. Regardless, though, 39 carries for 42 yards. That is incredible for A&M. Incredible. Back to you.
Yeah, a lot of the negative plays on first down was a huge deal. Now, Arkansas has had a tough time running the ball all year. Doesn't matter who they've been playing against, right? Which is simultaneously like what made me feel good about this game taking A&M, but also made me nervous because A&M last year we saw that was their problem, right? And look, with McKinley, just having McKinley Jackson there and having good linebacker play, Torian York, the true freshman, right, is making me not hate or making me not hate missing out on Ant Hill a little bit less every week. I don't know if I said that right. I definitely didn't. Grammarly, where you at? Help me out here. But I'm just trying to say that Ant Hill was a huge miss for A&M, right? But Torian York is playing at an insanely high level. He's calling defenses out there as a true freshman. He is disrupting plays. I mean, look, in pass coverage, he's fine, right? But really in this run game is where he's made an absolute impact. He flies to the football, takes on blocks. I mean, he's just not afraid. He's just not afraid. Ezrin Cooper has been making the big time plays. Chris Russell had a pick six. So linebacker play has been really good this year, which is gigantic to see that. Max Johnson, I thought, played fine too. I thought he played fine. A couple mistakes here or there. Thought he hit the deep ball pretty well. Scripted plays, right? At the beginning of the game. A&M has scored, by the way, on their first 2 possessions in every single game this season. So on the script, Bobby Petrino is dialing things up for us right now. Dialing things up. Love to see that. And I don't think it's crazy to say that A&M is playing some of the best football in the SEC right now, given what we're seeing across the conference. Now, if you rewind 4 weeks, you would not have said that, right? If you're just looking at like the sample size of the last 3 weeks, you're looking at a team that is 17 sacks, right? They had 20 sacks all of last year. So in the last 3 weeks, 17 sacks, right? They put up 30 in almost every game except the Auburn game. They put up 27. I mean, I think things are starting to click together. I hope DJ Durkin stays aggressive on the defensive side of the ball. I think just because you're playing Bama and you're playing in these bigger games against better opponents, I don't think that means you just throttle down, because I think if you just confuse these offensive lines, because the SEC right now has an offensive line problem. They have an offensive line problem.
Pass blocking for sure, especially Alabama. You got to get
Especially
after
Alabama,
Nolan.
especially Arkansas. I would put
Auburn.
Tennessee was a little bit injured. Auburn. Oh yeah, Auburn. I would put in that category. Of course, Vanderbilt. Yeah, I don't know. I think A&M's offensive line's been doing pretty good. I really liked. They were protecting Max Johnson well this week. Now, is Arkansas's pass rush anything to go home about? No, no. But I think I was really impressed with A&M's defense this week. 22 points is misleading, and also special teams. Nia Smith. Oh, what do you know? Big time punt return in a big time moment. Really like kind of stretch this game, put it out of reach. Yeah, yeah, I like that. Now, explosive plays are still a problem in the secondary. Arkansas capitalized one. Andrew Armstrong, big touchdown in the fourth quarter. But I really think that there's a couple tweaks here or there, and A&M could take the next step, right, and really become an SEC contender. I mean, we see like LSU scoring at a ridiculous rate right now offensively, but we saw what they did to Jaden Daniels last year, and they just bullied him, and they bullied that offensive line, and they made him confused. They confused him. Granted, that game's on the road later on, and you got plenty of other challenges, including even after Bama this upcoming week, right? Say you even win that game. Say you win that game. After that absolute physical nightmare of a game where you're absolutely banged up, then you got to go to Neyland Stadium the next week in a tough environment, and you're expected to get a win there too. So season's not over for A&M, but it's looking really good. As for Arkansas, you did not want to be 2-3. I would classify this as close to a must-win game as they come, this early in the season, especially for Arkansas. This was like, I'm really concerned about this Arkansas team. Really, Luke Haas, I will say this: he went down in that first catch that he had for 14 yards. I don't know how he would have matched up against him this game. I mean, they looked like they were going to feed him early, right? And they just really never went back to the tight ends for the rest of the game. Of course, they're not as elite as Luke Haas. That kid's an absolute monster. So I hope he's all right. I think it was a shoulder or a collarbone injury. We'll see how long it takes for him to get back. But without him on offense, I think they still have some receivers. Arkansas does. But if you're really just relying on the explosive play and you can't run the ball, that is way different than Sam Pittman wants to play football. It's way different. No Kendall Briles to dial in some plays either when you really need them. I just think this is a team that could struggle down the road. This is a team that could struggle. Now, you can just never count this team out because KJ Jefferson is just a dude. He is a dude. But, man, I don't know how many other defensive lines they're going to see like this in SEC play. I mean, they're sure Bama's defensive line, Dallas Turner, Jaheim Otis. But he had no time. Like, he could not do. Walter Nolan was eating. He was eating. McKinley Jackson, eating. Fidel Diggs, eating. Anai White, eating. It was everyone had a piece. Everyone had a piece when they wanted it to. Shamar Turner, got him. Shamar Stewart had that deflection for the Chris Russell pick. It was everyone on this A&M defensive line that was just getting after. Ezrin Cooper, I think, had a sack too. If not, he was in there. I mean, this is a fantastic performance. Fantastic performance. Torian York had to have a sack. I mean, this is a fantastic performance for Texas A&M Aggies, and I really do think that there's a chance that this team could turn the corner. And Max Johnson is really capable. If you watched him, stats, they're not blowing your mind. They're not. But guess what? In this Petrino offense, he looked good and poised, and he can scamper when he needs to and make the throws.
I'll say this because I think you hit everything on the nail. But in terms of just adding to your points, when was the last time Texas A&M has been playing really sound football on both sides of the ball, all three phases? I'll throw in special teams there too, for multiple weeks in a row.
Bingo.
Right? I haven't really seen that, and that's what gets me so excited because we know the potential's there. We know how talented this roster is. Everybody knows the composite score of A&M is in the top 5. Everybody knows that. But where are the wins, right? And that's what we've been missing the past 2 years. And we go back to 2020, right? Which with that was last time we've been seeing very consistent football, and that was elite A&M football team that gave everybody that won all their games except obviously to the eventual national champions in Alabama. Last week you played very sound football against Auburn, complimentary football. This week again, 200 yards rushing, 200 yards passing, elite defensive performances, special teams touchdown. I mean, that's what you love. That's what you love. That's got you so fired up, and that gives you a chance to win every game on your schedule, right? Especially Bama this week at home. That's going to be a huge game. It's a shame both these teams are coming in with one loss, because I think if A&M was playing at this level against Miami, I think that game turns out a little differently. And I think if Alabama, is peaking at the right time right now, they played a little differently against Texas. Who knows if they played that game again, and there would be a ton more attention on this game. But sometimes that's how A&M likes it. Sometimes that's how they like it, right? The underdog in Kyle Field is a very dangerous spot for teams to come into. So I know you're going to be at the game. We've got a bunch of friends going, friends and family, so it's going to be a heck of an environment. But yeah, as for Arkansas, like you said, October does not get much easier, right? They got Ole Miss, and they got at Alabama, right? But after that, right, you're probably going to be 2-5, but you can really salvage this season, right? With Mississippi State, yes, you got to go to the swamp. Then you get Auburn, FIU, and Missouri to finish off the year. And I could see Auburn going, 5-0. I can see them going 2-3 in those games. It's just going to be up to them and how they want to play. And obviously the health of Raheem Sanders and KJ Jefferson. But no, it's like you said, I'm not quite panicking on Sam Pittman for this year, but I'm definitely, urgency should be the word for Arkansas the next 2 weeks to at least be playing better football on both sides of the ball, and then, really hit the ground running in games that you can and should win.